Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the dialogue with Lady Raj. Thank you so much for joining. Um, we are starting the conversation right away, but while you're on, you can still share the link to somebody so that they can join in. Okay, tonight we are talking about green flags in a relationship. You know, most of the time when we are talking or we are having these discussions, we talk about red flags. And I mean, yes, it's good. It's good. And the truth of the matter is that while it can sometimes be easier to pick out the red flags when you are dating someone, it's very important also to consider all the things that stand out or the positives that stand out about them, the things that will make the relationship work, the things that um, we feel and know that are prospects for a good marriage. So those are what we are talking about when we say green flags. And so I hope that this evening we'll all enjoy ourselves as we learn and unlearn. So like we always do, we'll start with a prayer. So let's go to that. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this evening once again and the opportunity to learn and share ideas. We ask that you come and teach us, and for anyone who needs to have their eyes opened, you open their eyes. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so tonight um, I have two guests. When we come to certain topics, I think that we need to have the male perspective and the female perspective. So tonight we have two people to speak with us. Um, we have Pastor Joella. Pastor Joella has come on the show before, so we know her. Pastor Joella is a pastor and she's passionate about seeing young people grow to love God and just get better with their walk with God. And then we have a new guest today. He is the person of Mr. George Hayfron. He's an entrepreneur. He's a businessman. He's a Ghanaian, like we can hear for his name. He's into car dealership, sound engineering, and many more. And he's a staunch believer of the gospel of Christ. George believes that it's our responsibility as individuals to make the world a better place. So tonight we'll be getting the male and female perspectives on this particular topic. Okay, so let's delve right into it. Before I call our guest to speak, most of the time when we are talking about these things, we look at how the person treats us or the person that, the two people in the relationship, we look at how um, your prospective partner treats you. But I believe that it goes beyond that. Because, of course, they'll be nice to you. They are trying to win your heart. So, of course, they'll be nice to you. But how do they treat other people? What is their character when it is not you that they are dealing with? And I think that when we are um, considering people for marriage or even to be in a relationship, because the ultimate goal of that relationship, I believe, is lead to marriage. I think that we need to look at how those people treat other people, not just us, because you are the one that they are trying to win. Um, they will by all means treat you right. So when we are looking at the green flags, I want us to consider also their attitudes and character, their behavior towards other people. So yeah, like always, there's a comment section. Um, we have a comment section on the bottom left corner of the page. You see there's a comment section. As we go along, you can share your thoughts. If you have a question, you can put it there. And if your question is private or sensitive, you can just send it to me directly. You see that arrow sign um, pointing up. You can just send me a message directly there. So, okay, straightforward. Who do we start with? Do we start with Pastor Joella? Do we start with George? Okay. Hello, Pastor Joella.
Hello, good evening, Lady Raj. How are
Good
you?
evening. Good evening, Pastor Joella. Thanks once again for accepting to speak with us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, Pastor Joella, let's go.
Right. So, hello to everyone here this evening. We pray that God will lead us in today's session and it will be a fruitful one.
Amen.
Sorry, I've lost my voice slightly, but I believe you can hear me as well
Yes,
as
please, we can
possible.
hear you. I
Great.
love the way it sounds anyway.
Oh, God. Well, at least I'm happy you can hear me. On the topic of green flags, I'm quite happy to touch on this because, in general, we always look out for the red flags as to why we should not pursue a relationship. But um, as I pondered upon this topic, I realized that there are many green flags that we can begin to notice as we court or as we date that we can use to assess our relationship as to whether we want to proceed or not. And I have a few points here that I've broken down, and just like a few headings. So I believe that green flags can be spiritual, they can be physical,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they can be emotional,
Yeah.
and they can be beautiful. So I'll break each one down. Um, Lady Raj already touched, on some of it already. That, for example, a green flag will be when you're looking at a prospective partner, how they even relate to others. So I'll get to that later on. But the biggest green flag is to know that you and someone are emotionally compatible because initially, we are drawn by the physical and we are also drawn by our emotions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we appeal to our emotions first and then we begin to feel that we are falling in love, we are attracted, we are building affection for the person. But then, we want to address some of the key points that lets us know heading is that you can be yourself. It is important that even though you are going into a relationship, you're going into a marriage, you can be yourself. You do not want to become someone that you do not recognize
Mm.
2, 3, 4, 10 years down the line because you conformed or you changed, yourself so much to be with somebody. You want that you can be yourself. And so the green flag would be that you can speak freely, communication. Whatever that is on your mind, the person is accepting. If they don't understand, they ask you to explain. They want to hear your side of, the subject. They want to be able to understand your point of view. So being yourself is very important because it is self that brings us together. I'm bringing myself, you are bringing yourself.
Yeah.
So when we change who we are, somewhere down the line, it's like a light bulb goes off in our head and we think to
Yeah.
ourselves, hang on, this is not who I am. I've changed
Yes. You can't
myself
pretend
because of
forever.
exactly. So, an emotional green flag is knowing that with this person, you can be yourself. If you're naturally a jokey person, you're always looking, you're optimistic, you want to make fun, you want to laugh, and the person doesn't dampen you. That listen, you have to be serious. Why are you always laughing? Why are you always, life is not a joke. Those sorts of people, and it makes you question
Hmm.
yourself. Then you are not in the right relationship. But a green flag is when you can be yourself. You are free to
Mm.
express yourself. You are free to communicate. You are free to be who your personality naturally shines forth to be. Um, a second point is that you are free from fear of judgment. At times we go into relationships and as we begin to share who we are and we share our ideas and we share each other's backgrounds and stuff, you want to be free from judgment. Anytime you talk about your past, anytime you talk about your
Mm.
family, anytime you talk about your origins, you don't want to be ridiculed. You don't want to be put down. Oh, you are from this part of Ghana, or you are from this part of the world, or because you've never traveled before, or because you've never experienced certain things. Whenever that particular thing comes up in conversation, you feel put down or you feel judgment on it. That would be a red flag. But if you find out that as you are progressing in the relationship, the person is open and doesn't judge you on where you are from or where you are coming from or your past experiences, that is a green flag. That whenever you think to yourself, I'm going to talk about this or that, and you know that you'll be met with acceptance. You know that no matter how bad the story is, or no matter how traumatic the issue that you are coming to talk about is, you know that you'll be accepted. That is one of the green flags. Another one is the ability to speak freely. In that we know that conflicts rise in every relationship, but the ability to speak and expound on your chosen topic or whatever it is, if you're annoyed, upset, whatever it is, the ability to be listened to know that, when you get that sense of your partner is also annoyed or they don't understand, but they are
Mm.
willing to give you the freedom to talk, to express yourself, so that they can
And
understand your point of view.
And
Yeah.
Pastor Joella, I am so glad that you actually mentioned this point because,
Right.
you know, and okay, for those of us that joined not long ago or just joined, this is the dialogue with Lady Raj, and tonight we are discussing green flags in a relationship as against red flags. So all the things that give give you the go ahead that, oh, this is a person that I could be with. That's what we are talking about. And I'm so glad that Pastor Joella, you've spoken about the ability to express yourself freely.
Yeah.
And especially for those of us who are yet to get married, I think that it's important that we take this point very seriously because
Mm-hmm.
there are people in marriages where they cannot express themselves. They
Yeah.
cannot they cannot share their opinion on anything. The partner looks down on them and thinks that they don't have much to offer. So
Yeah.
please, if you are dating somebody or you are interacting with somebody and the person constantly tries to shut you up or constantly tries to belittle you or make you feel it's condescending, let me use that word. The
Yeah.
person
That's
is
the word. Yeah.
constantly, yes, making you feel as if, I mean, you don't know anything. Please be very careful about that. Pastor Jolie can carry on.
Thank you very much. Another point I would touch on is when a green flag is when you think of the person and you feel happy, you feel joyous. When you know that they're going to come around to visit, or you're going to see them at church, or you see them at work, or you see them after travels, whatever that is, some time spent apart, no matter what, they always fill you with joy. Because, like I said, when we come back to the fact that after a while you would meet with conflict, you want that even after that, whenever you think about your partner or your intended beloved, they still fill you with happiness. You think happy thoughts. You remember something that fills you with joy. You don't want to go into a relationship with someone that fills you with dread, makes you think, oh no. You think to yourself, I'm not really up to seeing them again. Then you do know that going into the relationship, it's not going to be comfortable, but you want to go in feeling comfortable. You want the thought of that person to fill you with joy, to fill you with happiness. Christ is our ultimate joy and happiness. But for a person that you will spend the rest of your life with, God willing, for that long stretch till death do you part, you want to be able to be full of joy whenever you come into contact with each other. My next point for a green flag is when you feel respected. When you feel respected in your decision making, how you carry yourself with your personality. If there's respect and the two of you have certain things that you share together, that you both respect and that you both work towards, it's a green flag. Definitely go into a relationship where there's the utmost respect and where you don't feel pressured into doing things or making
Mm,
hasty decisions,
mm,
but you know that this person is giving me time to think, this person is giving me the freedom to move, this person is putting my feelings, my thoughts into consideration. Is very important. It's a very big green flag.
mm,
Another green flag is when you want similar things in life. That is a green flag. If we hear this thing a lot where a lot of women say they don't want to be married to men of God or they don't want to be married to pastors, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because they feel that the responsibility that comes with being married to a man of God or a pastor is very great. He'll rarely be there. In his mind, he's highly spiritual. He'll have how he'll want to, run his house and family. We understand all those things. But so it's good that you marry someone where, or you go into a relationship with someone where you have similar interests, you have a similar goal, you share the same vision. In your conversation with each other, it should come to a point where you want to live should be maybe in a similar town or a similar country. It shouldn't be that one of you wants to stay in one place, but the other hopes that maybe in 10 or 20 years they want to move out of the country, relocate to a different place, or one of you wants to have children, one of you doesn't. The green flag would be that every time you speak together, there is common ground, there is a aim and a goal for the same vision. Another green flag,
Pastor Joella, not to
yeah,
cut you, but
no, no, go ahead.
talking about, having common ground, is it
Yeah.
always going to be so that your significant other and yourself agree on
Mm.
everything? Is it
No, not at
realistic?
all.
Is it
That's not
realistic that
realistic.
both of you would always want the same things?
No, no, not at all.
So if you could
Um,
expound a little on that.
so I think that would bring me back to the point of when I spoke about the respect, in the sense that
Mm,
um, if we communicate, most of the time it's the men that usually, maybe because of work or another situation or the other, may want to relocate. If one of you has been promoted, or even the lady, if you've been promoted and the promotion comes with having to move, or like I also mentioned, you have different viewpoints on having children or not having children, or maybe the number of them. It comes down
mm,
to if you respect one another's,
views
opinion and where they are coming from, their views,
and work on a compromise, maybe.
and work, yeah, on compromises. But if you feel very strongly about your opinion and your idea, and the other person also feels quite strongly, then it won't work. So the green flag really in this point is, for us as Christians, also comes down to when the Bible says we shouldn't be unequally yoked. We can't be
Yes,
coming
yes,
from
yes.
different religions. And I mean, different upbringings can be tolerated, different, um, how do I put it, levels of education,
Opinions, whatever.
opinions, exactly. Yeah, they can be, but the Bible is specific when it tells us that we should not be unequally yoked when it comes to our religion, when it comes to our walk with God, to compromise and either marry an unbeliever or somebody of a totally different faith. So it comes down to respect. No, we will not agree on everything,
Okay,
but
okay,
that's where respect and love and understanding,
okay,
yeah, comes in.
okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So if you could, mention maybe two more points, and then I'll invite
So
George to share. Yes, please.
yeah,
Thank you.
so these were all the points under the emotional green flag. So
Okay,
I'll take one from um the spiritual green flag, and then I'll also take one from the point of my beautiful green flag.
okay.
And so from the spiritual green flag would be, one point I would like to touch on is the fact that the relationship is not affected, or the person's spiritual walk with the Lord is not affected by the ups and downs of the relationship. We have
This
people
is. Thank you so much.
for
Thank
picking that particular one, yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. We downplay it a lot. I would really love for you to explain this. I
Sure.
mean,
So, um, personally, being a PK, pastor's kid, I never had the option of not attending fellowship or being absent from, church gatherings, etc. But being in the position that I'm in, there were many times when, because of a failed relationship, being jilted by a boyfriend, disappointed, and going through a breakup, etc. Meanwhile, I knew 100% that it was wrong relationships I was in. But whenever anything went wrong, I didn't want to go to church. My prayer life went down. Even though I was in the prayer warriors, I would no longer attend because I was brokenhearted, etc. You know, so a green flag is really when, no matter what you are going through, you're able to still put God first. You know that God comes before relationship. God comes before
Mm.
money. God comes before children. God
Yeah.
above everything else. And
Yeah.
I like to give the analogy of the moment you can be relationship. So okay, so this is it. You can be in a relationship with somebody, but the moment you close your eyes, you see that feeling of when you close your eyes, it's just left you and God. Your partner cannot be in that space of when you close your eyes.
Mm.
It's just you, your thoughts, and God that's left there. And you have to have God in that place of your conscience at all times and not be wavered when things go wrong in your relationship and rather move away from God. So as you come across conflict, when you realize that your partner that you want to be with or the relationship, the person that you are in, they are able to maintain their relationship with God. No matter what is going on, they encourage you to pray. They encourage you to fast. They encourage you to continue to fellowship. It is a very big green flag that they will put God above and beyond everything else. And the next one I will touch on is under beautiful green flags. And then I'll end here. The one I'll touch on is a willingness under our duties, our willingness to seek counseling, no matter what we are, at the various points in the relationship. I
Mm.
see it as a duty
A
to,
duty.
yeah, to make sure that when things are going wrong or we cannot handle it, we seek counseling. If we have to refer a partner for counseling, if we personally have to go for counseling, if we need to go together for counseling, I see it as
Mm.
duty because the relationship which we believe will end in marriage is sacred to us, it's important to us. It
Mm.
should be as important as our health, as
Mm.
important as the amount of time and energy we put into maintaining our wealth, our health. We want our lives, how we live our lives to be healthy. And so we would go and see a doctor if there was something wrong with our body. We would consult, people who are financially savvier than us or, financial advisors.
Sure.
If we felt maybe we're not handling our finances well, we will read things to see how best to go about it. We'll take advice. So while if you take advice from friends and family, they can give their opinion on bias. I believe if you go for very good counseling, sound counseling, be it from your pastors or be it from an institution, you will receive unbiased information, help, advice that will keep this marriage that you want to go for many years until the Lord calls either one of you to keep
Mm.
going. So I see that as a duty that you make sure if you get to a point, and if in conversation, this is where this will come up. What do you think about counseling? Some people do not believe in counseling,
Yeah.
or will make it work. Or my pastor is there, my mom is there, my dad is there, I have my best friend. But unfortunately, sometimes these are all people who be biased, depending on the
Mm.
relationships that you have with them. So I believe that under our duties one of the green flags would be to make sure that the person you are in conversation with is open to counseling, is open to advice, is open to hearing another point of view. So I'll end here.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Joella. When I
You're
come back
welcome.
to you, I would love for you to share what you saw as green flags that made you say yes to your husband of how many years?
14 now.
Of 14 years,
14 now,
yes.
yeah.
So when we come back, I would come back to you. I would like you to share what you saw that made you agree to him.
Sure.
Okay. So before I call George on board, I just want to stress what Pastor Joella said about the spirituality. There's this couple that I follow on Instagram and YouTube. They are called the Inzes. They are Nigerians. Actually, they are Nollywood couple, and they share their journey. They are married now. They've not been married for long, actually, but they share their relationship journey and so far and how everything has gone. And one thing that they have shared that I really loved was that the lady was talking about the fact that at the point in their relationship she felt as if her joy was in the guy, and that anytime they had an issue she wouldn't be able to pray, she wasn't herself. I mean, she was just completely broken and everything. And then the guy was the one who actually told her and taught her that, see, I'm not comfortable with the way you behave when we have issues. I am not your joy. Your joy should be from God. And I believe that as Christians, when we are going into relationships, this should be our attitude, that your joy should be from God. So the moment you realize that you are um, dependent on the other person for your joy, then there's a problem. So I'm so happy that Pastor Joella actually brought it up. Okay, so this evening I have a gentleman, George Hayfron, here. George. Hello, George. Are you there?
Right here, Lady Raj. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Hayfron.
Hope I'm loud and clear. Everyone can hear me.
Yes, please, we can hear you. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak this evening. Okay, so as a young man, you are not yet married, I know, but I'm sure you've been in relationships before. If even you haven't, you have an idea of what and what would you'd like to see in a lady that you'd look you'd look at being with. So I'd like you to share your view as a gentleman on this topic.
Thank you so
So
much, Lady
the
Raj.
floor is
And
yours.
thank you so much, Lady Raj. Hope I'm loud and clear.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
So thank you, Pastor Joella. I've really learned a lot from you. Though I'm a guest on this program, I'm really putting together a lot of information. But there's a platform, Lady Raj. I'm so grateful that you've put me on tonight. As a
You're
single
welcome, sir.
man or a young man who is not yet married, these are things that we are so much interested in, as in looking for the green flags or the positive attributes in relationships. So I want us to have a look at what relationship really is. So my research on Google made me know, put this intel together, that relationship has to do with the connection of two things. So we are trying to merge two things together. That's the first thing I want us to look at. Being is such that these two things are not compatible. There is a way with time. My belief is with time, these people are going to maybe see the positives or identify what can really put them together. They can really work at it or progress with it into a marriage or yes, into maybe a serious relationship. So as young adults, we normally get obsessed and with the negativity of dating. Normally, we call the red flags, which sometimes become very toxic. This evening, Pastor Joella has talked about the respect aspect, but I will want to take it from this angle. We shouldn't
Okay.
always think that green flags are to be perfect or we should have it 100%.
Mm,
Yes, that is the first thing I want us to touch on. So
okay.
with this,
Interesting. Mhm.
I am coming from this angle. If I have someone maybe I recently met, then maybe we started something, there are things I will pick as positive traits. Maybe the person is not um, well informed about how I want my woman to be or how I want her to do her things, but picking up these positives, I think we should be able to work at it and make it consensual and safe to grow as individuals or together, like as in progressively with time.
It's the use of the word "my woman" for me. My God.
So very interesting. So the positive thing that hints at compatibility here is finding the similarities or finding the positive traits that builds up when these two people come together. So the meaning of green flag is always being mutual and respectful and appreciation from both parties. If we look at maybe Amma, I'm bringing a scenario up. Let's say we have Kojo who is interested in Amma, but Kojo is in a state of monitoring Amma or looking at how things are progressing with Amma. This Kojo has probably spoken to his friends or friends about what these positive or green flags are he is looking out for in having a relationship with Amma or going forward with Amma. Maybe, I just put this word maybe.
Okay,
Kojo
noted.
got attracted. Come again?
I said noted. We've noted the use of the word maybe.
Yes. Maybe Kojo got attracted to Amma because of her intelligence. Okay. And Amma, not knowing maybe Kojo got close to her because of her intelligence, might not maybe necessarily pay attention to maybe being smart around Kojo or trying to be who she is around Kojo, which is a green flag. At times, we will take it said that okay, this is what I did to get this girl, or this is what I did to win over the heart of this guy. So once we enter the relationship, we kind of hold back a little bit. We stop doing all these things that we're supposed to do to maintain or sustain the relationship, kind of. So with this, if we are to look at this from this angle, Amma isn't interested in Kojo, as in everything Kojo does. But Kojo went in purposely to get Amma's attention because of her intelligence. Hey, Joella, let me ask you this question. If you find yourself in such an angle or in a relationship that someone comes in
Mm-hmm.
looking for this as a green flag, but meanwhile, you are not more of focused or conscious of this is what the person's motives are. How would we call it?
I'm not sure I get that.
So let me come again. Kojo comes in liking Amma because of her
Mm-hmm.
intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And Amma now, not knowing Kojo maybe got attracted to her because of her intelligence. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
doesn't when the relationship baby starts with we are looking for green flags here. She
Yeah.
stops maybe doing this or stops being that intelligent lady Kojo saw and maybe was
Mm-hmm.
ready to
Mm-hmm.
do everything and sacrifice for.
Okay.
In this situation, where will Amma fall, or what was going to be your say on Amma maybe not knowing this is what she did to get Kojo?
So I don't see why the gentleman cannot tell her. And
Okay, so
that's where I feel like friendship is very important in building any relationship. Because if they were
yes,
friends, then they would talk about everything, and even before maybe the guy proposes love or whatever to her, they would have spoken about, Kojo telling Amma that, one of the things I really like about you is the fact that you are so intelligent.
yes.
And
So
that,
what I'm trying to say,
yes,
I'm trying to narrow it down to the point I just gave that we are not looking for perfection or
that's
100%
true, that's
happiness
true,
here.
that's true, that's true.
Yeah. So you see, but we finding out, okay, this is what I did or this guy got close to me for is about we developing it or building on it. To me, that's what I'll start talking about as a positive sign or a green flag for me.
Mm,
Because
mm,
if this is what I met you on, or this is what drew me close to you, or this is what made me like you, and coming into a relationship, maybe we've not gotten to the side where we are supposed to maybe have a deeper conversation, and all these things are going off. First, as human, I know we are not 100% right. So at a point in time, he might do things that I will not be so happy about, or maybe that's not what I saw her to be. But as time progresses, we should be able to go beyond that, maybe by talking or getting intimate or being open to each other. The second thing I want us to look at here is the respect of each other's boundaries. Lady Joella touched on the respect, but this is where I want to also, if I'm permitted to ask questions, as in ask her questions, or that is going to come in afterwards.
ask Pastor Joella questions.
Yes, about her respect, the point she raised.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I think you
Yes,
can do
yes,
that.
yes,
You
ma'am.
can do that.
Okay. So, Lady Joella, please, I want to find out, we with what we are talking about, guys, or my boys, sometimes we decode love as a language of respect. Maybe I want my girlfriend or the girl I'm in a relationship with to be respecting me. That's what I would decode as love. It's a green flag for me.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yes, it's a green flag when the person respects me. But if I'm not comfortable, hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yes, if I'm not comfortable with maybe the respect aspect regarding boundaries, because there are instances maybe I'm in the office, someone is trying to maybe say hi to you, but you are kind of distracted in the office. If I'm to understand exactly what you try to say.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So my question is,
Mm-hmm.
with the respect aspect,
Yeah.
should it be always about going beyond boundaries, as in looking for red flags, or you're trying to trigger something out of the lady or the person you find yourself relating to or in a relationship with?
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, what you mean is, with the respect, do you mean by your question that as time goes on, should we look for the things
Hmm.
that we should then communicate that, oh, I don't feel respected when you do this, or I don't feel respected when you do that, or we should look,
Yes.
or we should be able to sort of see ourselves what we do
Yes.
that makes the
Yes.
person. I think it's really a case of communication.
Okay.
I believe it comes down to communication. And in
Okay,
marriage, though,
I
as time
agree.
goes on, you will begin to see certain things. I believe that with ladies, we are more non-verbal than men. So I believe with as time goes on, you'll be able to see that, oh, maybe when I'm with her family and maybe I talk about sports, her family, they don't really respond well, and it makes her feel awkward. And she, like, you can watch her, maybe her mannerisms, and so to realize that, or maybe her brothers, her dad, they don't know much about sport or something like that. So you can take that key, from that. But then the best thing to do really is to communicate and just let each other know
Okay.
that, when we are in this setting and I'm trying to get your attention and you're not minding me, I don't feel respected. When this is going, I don't feel respected. Even in the home, for someone like me who is married, I try and do things that I think will be respectful. So if I'm giving my husband a dish, I won't just give it to him like that. I'll put it on a serving tray, or I'll set the table properly, just so that you will feel respected in that manner. I don't mind in the morning jumping out of bed and not laying immediately because we have children. But in respect to him, I will make sure that the moment I get out, I dress and lay the entire bed, just so that should he return to the bedroom, he's met with, a pleasant sight. Things like that. These are not things we've discussed. These are the things that I've observed. So it's both observation and communication. I think when it comes to respect, it's best that it's communicated because it cuts across. It cuts across finances. It cuts across sexually. It cuts across with our health. It cuts across with family. Respect is a very broad spectrum. So that's how I would uh,
Okay. Thank you
elaborate on
very
it for
much.
you.
So
Yeah, well.
thank you very much. So going forward, making compromises and accommodations in relationships. When you're in a relationship, I believe it means so much to you, and you're looking to throw a big shot at it or do everything you can to make it work. So when you're in a relationship and you find yourself wanting to make sacrifices and vice versa, I believe there is a green flag in here to accommodate their request. And
Mm.
having to do that, you indirectly are hitting the red flag, because someone would be like, okay, this is a no-no for me. But you have to try and accommodate their request as time progresses. Because let me chip this in. There are instances that there are things that you don't like in relationships. For instance, maybe you meet Amma and Amma is like, okay, I wouldn't want to have a guy or marry this guy who is abusive or insulting,
What what
sometimes
what's
insult me.
what's with what's
Like,
with Amma though?
come again?
Why not Ajua or
Ah,
Abena? Oh, but
Okay,
you
so
continue. Don't worry. It won't be used
okay,
against
so
you in the court of law. Don't
thank you for that. I don't know why I keep using armor, but maybe there should be
worry. I
something
think I know
connected to
why,
armor,
but you
of which
you
I am.
continue.
Okay, so I feel you should be able to accommodate her requests and at times be ready to sacrifice, vice versa, to try and maybe hit that milestone or what you people are looking to achieve. So with me, for instance, if I come to a relationship and I find out maybe this is what my partner comes short, which is a red flag in essence, we will want to work and push it towards the red and the green flag, which has to do with me being sacrificial, being someone who is ready to try and cultivate her or maybe make her know that okay, let's do it this way to get to this point. And with this, I'm sure that has to do with someone I'm going to meet should be teachable, should be ready to unlearn, relearn, and be ready to sacrifice whatever she has been through or been over her her exes and the relationship that she had in the past. These are things I look out for to grow together with her. The conflict aspect might come in, but how we are going to settle this conflict in a healthy manner to me also becomes a green flag for me. Giving
Yeah,
you the time and
yeah.
space to share unreservedly, I know with time, this person, if you are so much into her, maybe you've gone so far with her in a relationship, she should be able to learn from you. See, my grandmother and my auntie kept saying this whilst I was young. There's something that if there is something you don't want, you don't give room for it, or you don't have to entertain it. But the moment you open up to that thing, indirectly there is this I don't know the right word to use, but you indirectly
You've given a license.
succumb to
Yes, you've given a license for it to be
yes.
done.
Yes, so these things are things that I personally have put down, and I think it might be a red flag for someone here. But look, my point is on not looking for perfection, not looking for 100% happiness, and these things are to be looked at as young adults and as young individuals looking for a better life or a better future with our uh, girlfriends or whoever we find a relationship with. And
Mm.
also, the one thing I want us to look at, Lady Raj, is when we feel appreciated and valued. One sign of she being a keeper is she being able to be appreciative and value whatever you do for her. That's even including the little things you do for her. In such relationships, I think they'll recognize the qualities of this lady by maybe appreciating the little things he or she does for you. Because some of these books that we've been reading, I once read this book, The Five Love Languages. It says anything that a man is finding difficult to do or not ready to open up to do for you, by words of affirmation, at times opens this person up. Like, okay, this is what I've been doing wrong, and this lady has not been maybe commenting or doing or saying anything bad about it. But indirectly, this guy will try and fine tune himself to be the kind of lady maybe this girl wants, the kind of guy, sorry, this girl wants to be with. Please, do you get me, Lady Raj?
I do. I do. I get you.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for you to
So
land.
respect. Okay. You are waiting for me to what?
To finish, like, finish saying what you're saying so I can add what I have to say.
Okay. So I have one more point to go, and then when we come back.
Mm.
So a green flag also sometimes has to be taking responsibility for each other's mistake. For instance, if I don't communicate maybe what I want you to be like, and as time progresses, maybe I am just quiet over it. I overlook all these things and I don't open up. It's a red flag. But how do we translate it or make it to get the green flag out of what I'm just talking about here? We are not to play a blame game. We are not to ruin this relationship, but keeping score or maybe of what errors each and everyone has committed against each other. But I am looking at the point where we should be able to take have the responsibility and making up for mistakes that we've done. Me being the man personally, I will want to take the blame and at times work on this potential and start to support to actualize the dream and the vision that we are all looking to achieve or get to. A genuine interest in this lady will bring me to a point where I'm ready to listen or sacrifice, kind of.
Mm,
So this makes me to take a lot of heat on me, but I am trying to get to an angle where I this thing you are doing, or I don't really feel this vibe, but let's try and switch it
mm,
by communicating.
mm. Okay. Are you there, George? Hello.
Hello, Lily Raj. Yes.
Uh-huh. You went off for a bit.
No, I'm right here. So this is what I want to touch on for now, and
Okay.
if there are any questions with the point and the
Okay.
stuff we just spoke about, you can just throw more light on or ask them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so for those who joined not long ago, this is the dialogue with Lady Raj, and tonight we are discussing green flags in a relationship. Most of the time, when we talk about relationships, we are looking out for the red flags. But what are the things that, when you see, gives you the go ahead to, um, entertain or be with the person? And George, you just spoke about keeping score. And as Christians, I mean, I'll keep saying it because this is a Christian show. As Christians, First Corinthians 13, when it talks about love, say that love does not keep a record of wrongs. And I know that we do that a lot, especially as the women. It's sort of there's this notepad in our minds, a diary in our minds where we pile everything up, and then the person does one thing, and then you just go back to that diary and then pull out everything, the green sheet of everything that you have kept there. And I think that is something that we all need to work on. All right, so before we come back to that, if you have questions or comments, you can just put them in the chat box, or you can send it directly to me, and then I'll read them out and we'll try and sort them out. But I have something to share that I'm actually surprised. I didn't know if we were going to say it. I'm surprised that they both haven't brought it up. Okay, but anyway, maybe because I relate to it personally, I'll say that one, or maybe say the main thing that drew me to my husband or made me know that he was the one I was to be with was his consistency. And I have said this over and over again, and I don't know how I can even stress this. I don't know, I can't stress it enough. And it is a biblical principle. Matthew chapter 5, verse 37 says, "Let your yes be yes, and your no be no. Anything apart from this is evil." And just meeting my husband and relating with him made the scripture come so alive. I mean, he was so consistent. His words and his actions were consistent. Um, like I, he wouldn't behave one way. He wouldn't say "I love you" and then behave in another way, or he wouldn't say "I'm displeased with you" and then his actions are saying something else. And I think that that is a green flag in a relationship. Consistency. The person, if even they are upset with you, it's not like they have switched on you. Of course, we are fighting, or I mean we have an issue here, but that doesn't mean that you should suddenly behave as if we are enemies, or you suddenly switch up as if you are not the one who was all loving a few minutes ago. If you meet somebody who is consistent in their relation with you, it's not like today they call you, or today they want to speak with you, tomorrow they don't want to speak with you, and you are confused. That is a red flag. So the green flag is that this person is consistent in their relation with you. They make you know that you are the one, whether I'm upset with you, whether I'm happy with what you are doing currently or not, you are the one that I'm interested in and I want to be with. Let me share maybe two more and then I'll come back to Pastor Joella and George, and then we'll just round up. Another thing is somebody who is considerate and not just towards you, towards every other person. But let me talk about in relation to you. I heard of a story where a lady and a gentleman were about to get married, and the lady knew that the gentleman was a salaried worker and he wasn't earning, I mean, his salary wasn't so much. And this lady was looking for an extravagant wedding, something so lavish. And she knew that, I mean, she should know that this gentleman's budget cannot accommodate it. But she was still insisting that they have this kind of lavish wedding. And so when you are with someone, watch listen to their speech. I mean, when they need something, do they want you to get it for them at all costs? Whether you have it or not, you should find a way to make it happen for them, or they understand that, oh, currently this person doesn't have it, or currently this person is not feeling too well. We are in a relationship, the person has told you that I'm not feeling too well, but you feel like he should come and visit you by all means. That is what shows that he loves you. So I mean, somebody who is considerate, I don't know how to put it, but yes, somebody who is considerate is a green flag. And another thing I want to talk about is empathy. There are a lot of people who are, I don't want to say wicked, but they don't care about a lot of things and a lot of people. They treat people anyhow, beggars on the street, people who have less than they have, and they talk to them anyhow with no feelings attached. They don't feel any empathy towards anyone. It's like, hey, it's their fault that they are poor. Is it my fault? Am I the one who gave birth to them? Why is it that? Why are their parents? Why is it that it's me? And then this person constantly keeps talking about how poor people or people who don't have it I mean, it's their fault. I mean, it's not my fault. I didn't put them in that position. And something happens to someone and it's like they are indifferent about it. But somebody who is empathetic, feels for other people, considers that, oh, I mean, you've just gone through a major change of phase in life, and so maybe I should be a little easier on you. I should be a little considerate and all that. Okay, so if you have a comment and you'd like to speak, I can, you can raise your hand. I will unmute you and then you will speak, or you can just put it in the chat box. Okay, so Pastor Joella, if you could give us your
Hello.
closing comments or share your closing thoughts with us.
Yeah, I'll just touch on a few of the things that, like when you were just speaking about the green flags, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for example, being with someone who is consistent, the consistency, and being empathetic. The empathetic one, I could really relate to, because my husband is such a giving person, it has rubbed off on my kids. And so whenever they see, these people in Accra who are begging or they are in wheelchairs or whatever,
Mm,
they always want to give something to them. And the
mm,
importance of us today discussing these green flags is that these good components of our partners and in ourselves going into relationships will carry down for generations.
mm,
Our children will learn from it, they will see it, it will continue down. So you want to make sure that you are going into a relationship with someone who has the personality and the character traits that you will be happy to see in the next generation, in your children, that you will be proud of. when you're in public and how they conduct themselves.
Mm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and another thing that our brother touched on that was really important to me is that when he spoke about um, being getting over exes, and I know you said if I should share some of the green flags that drew me to my
Yes,
husband,
please. Yes, please.
and I will
Yes,
speak
please.
from both aspects because, for example, with my husband, when I met him, he was actually interested in somebody else, and
Okay.
I was in more of a promiscuous lifestyle, so I had many somebody else's that I was playing with, but the green flag was from him. Really, he gave me a green flag, I gave him red. That's the best way to put it,
and and
because
and
when
that's so even hard to imagine knowing you now.
really,
Knowing you
oh
now,
god,
that's hard to think, and that's the amazing work of the Holy Spirit.
it is a testimony to how God can turn people around. Definitely, definitely. But yeah, he gave me that green flag because when he ended with that lady, he ended with that lady. It didn't matter what happened 2, 3, 5 years down the line. It's just me and you. Whereas with me, in my mind, I would always be plagued with, oh, I'm sure this other guy wouldn't have treated me this way. Or this guy knew how to, he knew not to do this because I don't like it. Or I feel disrespected because, so I always had those sorts of, oh dear, sorry. I always had those sorts of things, in mind. But I think this is where at times, there was something my brother George said, but I wasn't able to write it down. But I think in the same way, it was something around, the number of red or green flags that we want to sort of tally, if you like, to be able to know whether we should pursue a relationship or not. I think you just have to see what you are personally comfortable with. We can list as many, green flags or red flags or yellow flags or whatever, but you have to know what you are personally comfortable with. With myself, like I said, because I came from such a promiscuous background, when I met my husband and he didn't approach me sexually, he wasn't about the lewd conversation and asking me, all those just, intimate or inappropriate questions. He spoke to me
Mm-hmm,
about my
mm-hmm,
future. What was I
mm,
interested in? What was I studying? We were students at the time. What was I studying? What were my hopes for the future? What was my walk with God like? And I saw his consistency in the sense that when he broke up with this other lady, we were all in the same ministry. It did not slow him down in his walk with God. It was as if nothing had happened when it came to his walk with God anyway. We saw
and
people
it's
who,
so
when they went through,
important.
yeah, we saw people who, when they went through breakups or whatever, we'd now have to send the evangelizing team to go and visit them to bring them back on board. And honestly, but that wasn't the case with him, you know. So that was a green flag for me. Inquiring about my future, interested in me as a person, my likes, my dislikes. Whenever we would go out, he was always very respectful. He was very, courteous. I felt protected. I felt comfortable. I didn't feel like this is just going to lead to sex, and violations and abuse and all, and then I'll be done. It didn't feel like that. So those were all part of the green flags. And for me, his relationship with God was the number one thing that really drew me to him.
Mm,
So we have to think to our own selves that
yeah.
what are we personally comfortable with? And we should
Mm,
finally really want to be with someone who displays the fruit of the Spirit: love,
mm,
patience, long suffering.
mm,
All that we've been told in Galatians 5:22, that is the gifts of
mm.
the Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit. That's what we should be interested in to look for in a person, because we're not going to get 100% perfection. 14 years of marriage, I have not been able to give my husband perfection. I would have liked to. Now that I think back, there's so many decisions I made and so many things that he could have put together and drawn up a tally pie chart, whatever you want to do, and say, this is reason enough not to progress anymore in this relationship because it's that bad. But then, whatever that he saw and whatever that I also saw in the relationship from the beginning, the green flags for us from beginning has been enough to take us through 14 years. So, whatever your green flag is, or whatever you decide is important to you, Once you have that common ground, you have that understanding, everything else that will be shared or imposed upon you, or don't stay in this relationship, don't stay in this marriage, you're being abused, you're being this, if he's not treating you right. I've experienced that before. But because of the green flags in the beginning, I've been able to go past those particular milestones where I thought to myself, no, this is not good enough. I've thought back and thought, well, why did you put your head in the first place? What did you see? So it's like you said, yours was the consistency, his caring,
Mm-hmm.
how empathetic he was. Those are the
Yeah.
things that I was able to draw back from and actually look. Like you said, my husband, when we've had an argument or whatever, it doesn't change his behavior. How he is how he is.
Yeah.
And one thing that threw everything out the window for me once, that made me realize, no, this guy is a good guy. So when we had a really heated argument, and I'd really dug into my archives and storehouses to how terrible insults. I was really annoyed, and I thought today is the day. I'll give him every insult. I will hit him in the places I know hurt. And we had this terrible back and forth. And because of how heated the argument was, I now experienced a serious migraine and collapse
Wow. Wow.
to the point where I was on the floor. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. My head was literally like someone had put a chisel and a hammer to my head.
Wow.
And my husband and I are always usually about the same weight, and we always joke, and he always says, "Don't expect me to carry you because my back will not be able to take it." It's something we've always joked back. What made me realize this guy was a real one, honestly, was when right after such a heated argument, I fall over with this serious migraine. I can't react or move or anything. And he carried me down 3 flights of stairs, took me to hospital, carried me in.
Wow.
And even on the hospital bed was saying, I'm sorry for what's happened. I love you. It should have never happened. I let this argument get too far. I was the one. I knew
Oh.
I was the one. I was in the wrong. But at that
Mm.
moment, I couldn't respond because of the amount of pain I was in. But all I could think to myself was, wow, this is real love. Because if he was the one who collapsed, I would have said, that's God has paid you back. I mean,
I mean, nature.
for your wickedness. Of course, for your wickedness. After the nonsense you just told me, you have collapsed. That's it. My enemies have what? Been scattered. But that wasn't his that wasn't his reaction. So from there going, it put him in a different light to me. And even though different things popped up along the line, this is maybe a 6 or 8 years ago incident. My mind
Mm.
always goes back to that day that listen,
Mm.
he was willing for his back to go out for you. And he
Mm.
forgot all that had happened and was speaking words of love and reassurance in that moment. So we have to
Mm.
pray also and ask God for his
Mm.
guidance. Because
Mm.
in this day and age where red flags are what are promoted, I would have never even thought of a topic of covering the green flags.
Mm.
Oh, we are like, okay, be careful, look out for red flags. Oh no, that's a red flag. If he did that, if he's tight fisted with money, that's a red flag. Like we promote so strongly the red flag. So I'm really happy and God bless you, Lady Raj, for bringing up this topic of the green flag because we do not concentrate on those.
Thank
But
you.
reflecting back on my own relationship, one single green flag has curbed my own emotions, it's curbed my responses, it's held my tongue at times, it's held my behavior at times. When I go back and I remember how he behaved. And we have to pray for God's guidance and his understanding. God's ways are not our ways. If we want to judge things from what man is telling us, many of us, one, we will not go into marriage, and two, our marriages will not last the moment that we get into conflict.
True.
So
True.
that's what I would like to close us with. That once our
Wow.
partner is able to show love to us, that touches us deeply. And when we look in God's word, they have many of the gifts and the fruits of the Spirit that God shows us is indeed love. We should
Mm.
hold on and persevere with our relationship.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much, Mr.
You're
Joella. Okay, so before I bring George on for his concluding thoughts, I would love to read a few messages that I've received. But before then, also, I want to read Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23. It says, "But the fruit of the Spirit," and I'm reading the Amplified Version. It says, "But the fruit of the Spirit," that's the result of His presence within us, "is love, which is unselfish concern for others, joy, inner peace, patience," not the ability to wait, but how we act while waiting, "kindness, goodness, faithfulness." Verse 23 says, "Gentleness, self control, and against such things there is no law." Amen. So, this is what Pastor Joella was talking about, that if you meet somebody who possesses these ones, love, that is unselfish concern for others, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control, then these are glaring, bright green flags for you. Okay, so I'll read some comments, but or should I? Okay, let me read one or two, then um I'll call George. So somebody says, some guys can't stand certain actions, and it makes it hard for them to be consistent. The fact that you make them repeat the same thing over and over again makes consistency a red flag to them. Let's say you've met a lady you are interested in, and you've done everything to get her, yet question mark. Doesn't it become annoying and a red flag? Sure. The fact that you want somebody and the person doesn't want you back, how is that a red flag? Master, it's not a red flag. If the person is not interested, I mean, move on. But sometimes consistency is needed. Sometimes consistency is needed. So pray about it. Find out from God. Have you even spoken to God about this person? Are you sure that God wants you to be with this person? It's not just about how you feel. So I mean, all those things come to play. But definitely the fact that you like somebody and the person doesn't like you back is not a red flag. It's not by force. Be cool. Okay, so George, I would like you to share your concluding comments with us, and within the next few minutes, and then I'll read a few comments, and then we can end. If there's anyone who wants to speak to, you can please raise your hand. I'll make you a speaker, and you can share. Okay, George, over to you now.
Thank you, Lady Raj, once again. And thank you, Pastor Joella, for the education this evening. So, in conclusion, I would like to say it is more important, personally, as a guy talking for myself, it is more important to be the right person than to find the right person. So, I
Hmm,
want
hmm,
to,
hmm.
yes,
Wow, wow, I like it. I
I
like
want
that.
to, I want to be able to grow with my partner. Yes, I have my red flags, I have green flags, but because I'm focused on what I want to achieve in the relationship, I think I have to be able to sacrifice and be able to move forward with the person. In as much as others will be maybe moving or changing their mind on whoever they have picked. Take it for instance, if I want someone who is maybe giving me these red flags, but I believe with time it can change into a green flag for me. It's my perspective. So it's relative here. We shouldn't overlook that. So green flags are to help us make right decisions with someone and with people we are in a relationship with. We always look out for the bad side of these people, but as I'm saying, we should also pay attention to the good sides. It might not necessarily be more than the green flags we are looking for from this person, but just give it a try, and then things could work out. Find yourself someone who is ready to listen to you, someone who is ready to be accountable to you, someone who is ready to be able to grow with you, because there's no perfect person out there. You might leave one relationship
Exactly,
because of red flags,
exactly,
and the one you jump
exactly.
to is even going to be worse.
The
Thank you
red
very
will
much.
be tomato red, bright red. Thank you so much, George. I mean,
Thank you so much.
I have learned. Thank you so much. It's so important. that we make sure that the things that we look out for in others, that we possess them ourselves, because Bible has said in Luke chapter 6 verse 31 that do unto others as you will have them do unto you. So it is quite selfish if you are looking for uh, green flags in someone and you are giving out red flags. So, as much as you want people to do this and that, make sure that you are also doing the same things. And I like the fact that George mentioned that there's no perfect person out there. That's what we need to know. And the reason I actually wanted us to speak about these green flags is that we have come into an era where we are just looking out for the negatives, just looking out for the negatives. And I have a brother who says that calls some people banku and others fried rice. Say that you think the person is fried rice. You see the package as a fried rice package. You go and open no banku. As much as you are looking for you, ma'am, you have given yourself out. As much as you are looking for fried rice, no, you yourself, are you fried rice? So please be willing to. Um, the most important thing is that the person is open to change and open to learn, and the person is filled with the Spirit of God, because really, honestly, it's the Spirit of God that changes a person. So it is quite dangerous. And I can comfortably and freely say this on this platform because it's my platform and it is a Christian platform, that do not be unequally yoked, because the Spirit of God is the Spirit of God that bears witness that we are children of God. So you need to have the same, as we now say, it's vibe, that means there are times that I want my husband to do something, and I know that if I go and say it right now, he might not do it the way I want it. But I know that my husband listens to the Spirit of God, and I know that he has the Spirit of God in him. I just go on my knees, tell the Spirit of God about it, and before I realize, it's already done. So you don't want to get yourself into a situation where you are stressing, like you need the person to see with you eye to eye on this issue, but because you are not on the same page, it's not happening. All right, let me just read these comments and then we should be rounding up. So somebody says that she has sent me quite, where is it? Where's today's one? Just a minute, just a minute. She says that I once listened to Pastor Otabil, and he says that there are two types of red flags: false red flags and real red flags. The false ones are just a result of background differences and things that you may generally not like, and those ones can be worked on or compromised on. And I agree completely with that. And she says, and we shouldn't be quick to label just anything as a red flag. And I think that this generation is so fond of doing that. The moment we are not ready to put up with something, we are not ready to adapt to change, we just label it quickly as a red flag, and then we are ready to move on to the next person. And the person also says that I also think that even though there will be general signs, what is a red or green flag to someone may not be to another. So it's important to know who you are and what you want and not want, or can compromise on or not. Thank you so much to the person that sent this. Now, somebody asked that is height and abs, that is six packs, a reasonable green light. You now you know the answer. That it is no, big fat no. It is not a green light, a green flag or whatever. It's a spec that you are looking out for. And somebody might have six packs, and his red flags will also be six packs. So you have
I'm sorry, Lady Raj, if you don't
go
mind,
ahead, Pastor Joella.
make a comment here. One thing that we have to realize about those who maintain a gym body The men who maintain gym bodies and the six packs and all, it becomes a sort of religion to them,
Mm.
and they dedicate a lot of time and finances and research to it. So it's nice. Some people are naturally built that way, no problem. But if you have someone who has decided that this is going to be their all and they are working, if you're not careful, you won't even have a relationship.
Mm. Mm.
I know many men who are not married and who can't pursue a relationship because their everything is to look a certain way. Their arm, they do it by arm width. One of my brothers is involved in it. So, your arm has to be a certain width, their bicep. And so they press these
We have the
different,
list.
what is the list?
We have the list of the people. So you go ahead. Don't worry, Pastor Joella.
No, honestly. So some are looking for arm width, some are working, on even according to my son, there's even now 8 pack because there's some muscles on the sides
Hey,
that you should also see. And it's not important. It's not it's selfish on the person's part. When you realize that they are dedicated to the gym, it's just something I've noticed. So I just want to say that for women, let's be careful.
mm,
If you have a man who is on the softer side, there's actually nothing wrong.
at
Ensure
all.
that he eats healthy, ensure that at least he has an amount of exercise. But those who maintain the six pack, I can tell you from experience that they live in the gym. They want you to prep their meal a certain way. They want,
Jeremiah,
oh dear.
Pastor Joella is calling you, please.
Honestly speaking, it's a lifestyle. That's the thing. Maintaining that sort of body is a
Mm,
lifestyle. And it's not important because what is important is that in your old age, when you've had children and they've moved on, you have a best friend. That's what's important. At
that's all.
90, I don't know how you are going to maintain a six pack
Yo.
and a 17 or 18-inch bicep. I don't know,
Mm.
but it's not
And
important.
flat tummy. Flat tummy. All are vanity upon vanity.
It's vanity. Like, we've taken certain norms out of our mind. I was conversing with someone and I asked them that, hold on, you see our grandmothers, how big they are.
Mm.
Their arms are big, their breasts are big, their stomachs are big. Some of us have slim grandmothers though, but mine is very big. And I loved that she was so cuddly. I never looked at her and said, ah, like, why does my grandma look this way? She's obese. Or, no, not at all. I love my grandma how she is in her structure. I love my mom how she is. I've never looked at my mom and said, why doesn't she have, a size 29 waist or 31 waist? It's never bothered me. I've never seen it that way. And my own children, I have boys only. They've never looked at me and been like, oh, mom, you seem too fat or your belly is too big or whatever. I have
Mm.
obviously delivered recently and they're like, is there another baby already? Because still, the belly is out a bit. But they haven't ridiculed me. And I understand their curiosity. I haven't been ridiculed because I'm bigger than what maybe my 13-year-old son remembers me from 2, 3 years ago. He understands what my body has gone through. But if we're not careful, someone like my 13-year-old boy is going to grow up and marry maybe a size 8 girl or size 10 girl and have this idea that the TV media and all have painted to him. And the moment that her body changes, now take it as a red flag and now put her in a position where she feels insecure
Mm-hmm.
and now
Mm-hmm.
turns
Mm-hmm.
her into the gym rat, where she
Yeah.
now has no time for him or for the home or for the family because she's busy now working on the body to please this person. So that's for the gym body there, please, ladies. It's not important. It really isn't. So please, ladies, continue. That's my
Thank you
opinion
so
on that.
much.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you so much for coming, Pastor Joella. And I mean, yes, I mean, if you can maintain the gym body and at the same time be relevant to your family, I mean, I mean, by all means, go ahead. If you are not obsessed with it, and you can I mean, you don't, I don't know what to say. You're not obsessed with it. It hasn't become a religion to you. That's fine. But the moment you become obsessive over looking a particular way, then you have to be careful. I mean, that's what I'm going to say. Um, where's, I think I saw, oh, Ejubi, where are you? Yeah, Ejubi. Where is Ejubi? She raised her hand and I made her speaker.
Guys,
Ejubi.
my network is so bad. Forgive me.
That's all right.
Okay, so I went off at the part where someone asked if abs or maybe the physical attraction is a green flag. I would say yes and no because um, even in marriage, it would be difficult. It would be so hard to live with somebody you are
You are not attracted to. Yeah. But that's
not,
true.
attracted to in that sense,
Yeah.
sexually, whatever it is. It would be really difficult. And
Yes,
when
yes.
we meet people, we all have spec. We all do. We all imagine the kind of man or woman we would want to have, the kind
Oh,
of man or
Ejubi,
woman we
what's
feel would
happening with
look
your
good
network today?
where it happens. But it's always the physical attraction that comes first. When you meet someone and you are not even physically attracted to the person and they say hello, sometimes you don't even want to respond. It's because
Um,
maybe they don't fall like in that spec. It is only when you get closer to them and realize that they are more than they look on the outward. That's when
mm-hmm,
somehow you start
mm-hmm,
falling for them. I hope you understand.
mm-hmm.
And me, I
I
always say
do
mine
completely,
is
completely.
my marriage is an example. I always thought, oh, I was so big, so I needed somebody very tall and buff to sort of complement my looks. I didn't know God was going to give me somebody my height, you know, and size. I, I hope you get me. God in heaven knows that is not what I wanted. But then when I decided to
Uh-huh.
shift my focus
Mm-hmm,
off, my
mm-hmm.
own understanding and then try to understand God and
Yeah,
why He was taking
yeah.
me that direction, I don't know how I even fell in love with this man. It was strange, it was weird, but then
It
it happened.
happens.
So, yes, it's really important.
Mm-hmm.
It is important. It's just that it comes with conditions. You must understand that once this person decides to give birth, or as we are growing, things
There
change.
could be changes,
The body
yes.
becomes, yes, the body becomes flappy. You get, my mommy calls it gutters on the face. A lot of things might change. So once you decide to settle for, let's say, 20% looks, which is extremely
It
important,
is.
it
It
comes with
is.
conditions. You
Yeah.
need to psych your mind up and understand that that tummy will get bigger than it is or not. So that's
Or
why
not. I
that
like
alone
that.
shouldn't be your focus. But it is as important as love, it is as important as the spirituality, it is as important as every other thing else. Wow, are you? You are spiritual, you can kabe, you can anoint, you can heal, you can deliver. But when it's time for sex, the person just annoys you or
Mm-hmm,
upsets
mm-hmm,
you.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
it's real. These are things our pastors or our leaders in church might not tell us, but it's real. There are
Yeah,
days
yeah,
one person didn't
yeah.
support back count, and it's real. So imagine if it's someone you are not sexually or physically attracted. It
Attracted
just
to,
shouldn't be your
yeah.
main focus, but it's very
Yes,
important. And
yes,
then I
yes.
want to talk about, I think George mentioned something about respect. He mentioned that for men, their definition for love is respect.
Yeah, he said that. He said that.
I think it's something that people have just said over and over that it seems like the truth. Um, if you should ask a man right now, what do you consider respect? It would be about me saying don't do this and you not doing it. It's always like that.
I knew.
But what I
Yeah.
have learned in marriage is that yes, that's the only explanation they will give, because that's the only way they think respect should be. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I feel you should see beyond that. The moment you and your wife decide to respect each other, it should be 50-50, 100-100, on the same level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Men say they don't want love, they just want respect. But then when you show them the kind of love women expect, they're excited. So
Mm.
when it comes to love, share it 100%. When it comes to respect, give it 100%.
100%. That's
You would
all.
always be happy because nobody's disrespecting
Hello, Juby. We are losing you, or we've even lost you.
think it's important. It just shouldn't be your main reason for settling with someone. Else you
Mm.
might regret. Thank you.
You will reverse. Thank you so much. And on that note,
Yeah.
I'd like us to call it an evening on this one. Thank you so much for joining. We have a YouTube channel now, Lady Raj on YouTube. I'll please ask that you go there and subscribe and click on the notification button and everything. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sure that we've learned a lot. Thank you so much, George. Thank you so much, Pastor Joella, for
You're
coming on the
welcome.
show. I'm really grateful. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thank you, and God bless you all. Bye bye.